Hello everyone, back to today's first video. We're doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as I was on a Friday, we're having a detailed look at the weather for the month ahead. I'm running rather late today, been out and about getting my Christmas tree and having Christmas dinner. So I'm running a little bit late for you with JMA Friday this week. But this is it, and then later on today, it'll be more like late afternoon actually. We'll have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days as well. So starting us off with today's first video, as well as on a Friday, is your month ahead look ahead. So I'll get on that for you right now. I won't say about anything else because we're running so late. I better crack on. So let's start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from the JMA, broken down into weekly periods. So we're looking at the North Pole view down first of all. So this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just here, and mid-latitudes of the British Isles are around there. 500 millibars is an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by jet stream. That essentially is what weather is, the movement of air via the jet stream. So blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure. Yellow, orange and red extrapolated to above average heights, which is high pressure. These other mean flow charts for the next week and then for the next month, so they're broken down to week periods. The first week period will take us from today, the 7th through to the 14th of December. So we've got an area of below average heights in the week ahead, out to west of the UK and also to the east. We've got quite a strong blocking signature up to our northeast. Quite a nice area of high pressure is up to the northeast, but we've also got this ridge down to the southwest. So it's a real mess. So we've got conflicting bouts of pressure fighting with one another. So that's a reason we're not going to get the easterly winds that a few days ago it looked like we would get. This blocking area of high pressure up here does want to turn the wind into the east, and with the low pressure down there, that's all lining up quite nicely to bring us easy winds. But then of course we've got the low pressure in the Atlantic, and the ridge around Spain is never a good sign if you want to get winds from the east. That'll usually act as a buffer to stop it. And so for us, it's a close run thing, but for us, we're going to keep the westerlies going. And actually, it's going to be quite an unsettled week ahead, with outbreaks of rain moving in from the Atlantic and quite strong winds as well. This area of high pressure up to the northeast will kind of block the progress of those areas of low pressure and their attendant weather fronts. So watch out for some big rainfall totals potentially next week as weather fronts get rather stuck. And then go through to week 2. This takes us from the 14th through to the 21st of December. And we still have that blocking signal up to the northeast. So it's kind of like to the northeast of Scandinavia and back into northern parts of Europe too. It extends down, though, into central parts of Europe and also into the southwest. We'll have low pressure through here, although it doesn't really show an area of below average heights. There would be a trough through there with another ridge over towards Canada. And so again, the jet stream and the flow will be doing something rather like that. It means for us we remain bringing up sort of southerly, southwesterly, so quite unsettled, maybe not quite as unsettled as it will be in week 1, but nevertheless still unsettled, and winds generally still coming in from a southwesterly or even perhaps even southerly type direction, so generally quite mild there around the middle part of December. And then we head into weeks 3 and 4. This takes us from the 21st of December through to the 4th of January. So we go into the start of 2019, can you believe, with the month head look heads this week. So for the 2 weekly anomaly, we have below average heights to the north and the northwest, above average heights are down to the south and to the southwest. And this is going to keep the wind coming in from a westerly or southwesterly direction. And so, therefore, mild conditions are maintained through to the new year. We'll have further areas of low pressure coming in from the Atlantic, if that is right, with bouts of rain, but also with mild temperatures as well. Right, so this is how the tropical and mid-latitude view looks. The British Isles in the top right-hand corner of the chart as we're looking at it, of course. A reminder of the week 1 500 millibar height anomaly with the high pressure to the southwest and the low pressure out to the northwest, and so we're bringing in the wind from a west or southwesterly direction. We do have a block signal up to the north. You can't see the North Pole and Scandinavia on this view, but there's an area of high pressure just there, and it does nose down to around there as well. So a bit of a battle. We're close to pulling in easy winds, but not quite making it. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead from the 7th to the 14th of December are forecast to be a little bit milder than average for the UK and for Ireland. Most parts of Europe coming out nice and mild, but it's cold over on the eastern side of America. As far as precipitation is concerned, so it's wetter than average for the northwest of the country, a little bit drier than average actually for England and Wales. I think it could finish up quite a bit wetter than that, is suggesting, to be honest. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we come out with significant rain through the course of next week. Week 2, which is the 14th to the 21st of December, is looking like this. So again, we've got that area of below average heights to our southwest, and also going through central and up to northern Europe, with below average heights, above average heights, I should say, out towards Canada, and the jet stream going to be pulling up like that. So you can expect another pretty mild week there. Temperature anomalies are close to average, a little bit above average, so it's not a big deviation, but on the milder than average side. Again, most parts of Europe are coming out milder than average. It looks quite cold over in the east of Europe, though. And then as far as precipitation is concerned, a wetter week coming up there, so above average precipitation through most parts of the UK with that one. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, taking us from the 21st of December, then over Christmas and into the 4th of January, the beginning of 2019, and we find that we have below average heights out to the northwest, above average heights down to southwest, and that keeps the wind coming in from a west or southwest direction. These are terrible charts if you want cold weather, I have to say. Temperature anomalies are forecast to be milder than average for that 2-weekly anomaly, and also above average through most central parts and eastern and northern parts of Europe as well. So very mild scene across Europe over Christmas and into the new year. And precipitation-wise, above average rainfall being forecast. So it just remains wet and mild, I think, as we go through Christmas and into the beginning of 2019. So that's the JMA. This CFS V2 is shaping up. Again, these are 500 millibar heights, break it down into weekly periods. The first weekly period will take us from the 7th to the 13th of December, with above average heights down to our southwest, below average heights to the north, and also to the west and to the northeast. There is that blocking signal up to the northeast of us, well up towards the north, to the northeast of Scandinavia, so into kind of like the northwest of Russia. It's too far away to bring us anything particularly cold, and so we're bringing the wind in from off the Atlantic, and fairly unsettled conditions as well. Week 2 looks like that. It's the 14th to the 20th of December, with a big trough of below average heights centred right over top of the UK. We've got above average heights down to our south and also to the southwest as well. That's unsettled and possibly a little bit colder with that one, actually. You will probably be pulling the wind in from Greenland there. So, I mean, we're not talking about a big freeze by far. No sign of that, but we'll say be a bit colder with the position of the trough, pulling the air out of the North Atlantic. A proper polar maritime airstream will be coming around that trough of low pressure that's centred over just that little bit to the northeast of the UK. So that was a little bit cooler. Then we go through to week 3. It's the 21st to 27th of December, over Christmas, and we find below average heights, again, very close to the country, above average heights down to our south. This is a classic westerly flow, westerly Christmas, therefore, with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic, so it will be unsettled, maybe bouts of rain, but it would be mild too, with wind driving in from off the Atlantic Ocean. And then what about week 4? This one takes us from the 28th of December to the 3rd of January 2019, and again we still have the above average heights going on to our south. We have the below average heights to the north. It's all looking as flat as a pancake, and that brings westerlies through across the Atlantic and into Europe as well. So that continues to be mild, wet and windy from Christmas through to New Year. Let's confirm that with the temperature and precipitation anomalies. So week 1 temperature anomalies from the 7th to the 13th of December are much milder than average for the UK and for most parts of Europe as well. Notice Eastern America looking very cold. Winter will be biting over in the east of the state. So if you want a bit of winter and you've got a bit of money to do some Christmas shopping, go to New York. You may well see some snow over there. But we go through to week 2, and it's still looking a lot milder than average, above average temperature anomalies in week 2. And this is the cooler week, I think. This is 14th to 20th. This was one that did look a little bit cooler with wind coming from Greenland, but the temperature anomaly is still above average. Very mild temperature anomalies again for most parts of Europe. Still milder than average in the cold than average in the east of the states, but a little bit less so. Starting to turn a bit milder then, running up towards Christmas in the east of America. And then we go through to week 3. This is the 21st to 27th of December. Over Christmas, much milder than average for the UK. Look how mild it is across the whole of Eurasia. Substantially warmer than average. And now Canada and North America are also much milder than average. So over Christmas, it looks as though the Northern Hemisphere temperature anomaly is going to be spiked into substantially milder than average conditions. Quite amazing how none of the populated areas really of the northern hemisphere are coming out with much in the way of cold. Though it does look a little bit colder down around Asia, so a little bit colder down there, but really Eurasia, so sort of Russia and into Europe and also North America and Canada, much milder than average. And this goes on into week 4 as well. So this is the 28th of December through to the 3rd of January. Again, a lot milder than average for the UK. Most parts of Europe off the scale in terms of mild conditions and extending back into Russia as well. I do think the model is probably going over top with that. That looks really bizarre to have it as warm as that. And I say warm because, I mean, we're talking about temperature anomalies there that are like around 4 degrees or more above average. You're off the scale. So it looks over the top, really, that. But again, that's what it's showing. Most parts of Russia and Europe back to the UK, coming out much milder than average. Again, much of the North America and Canada also really mild as well. Very odd looking charts. I've got to think that's a little bit over the top. And then finally, precipitation. So week 1, precipitation anomalies from the 7th to the 13th of December. Wetter than average for the UK and Ireland. It's going to be a mild, wet week coming up. Week 2, precipitation anomalies also much wetter than average. Again, very wet across most of Europe as well. So, I mean, we're just talking about a continuation of mild, wet conditions, really. Although I thought week 2 did look a little bit cooler with more of a polar maritime airstream, but there's not really much sign of it from the temperature or precipitation anomalies. Week 3, which is over Christmas, that one again is coming out wetter than average. So this is a very wet December coming up, if this is right. And it goes on into week 4. Normally by week 4, if you watch these videos regularly, you'll notice that with precipitation, as you go through to weeks 3 and 4, normally the signal gets a lot weaker and it's hard to decipher what's going on. But look at that, we're up to week 4. It's the 28th of December to the 3rd of January, and it's still much wetter than average for the UK, for Ireland, than most of Northern Europe. That is a really strong signal for week 4. It's very unusual to see week 4 precipitation that strong, and it tells us that the CFS is very strongly in favour of Atlantic-driven weather, therefore mild weather, but also wet weather. This could turn out to be a very wet December now, I have to say. That's how it's beginning to shape up with JMA Friday, the potential for a very wet December, also mild because we're talking about westerly winds. But the main point could be the precipitation, because all 4 weeks there are strongly signalled to be wetter than average. And it could well be that it's going to be a bit of a deluge this month. But of course, these long-range charts are highly experimental and they are prone to chopping and changing. Right, so it could all look very different next week. That's JMA Friday for you today. I think there's somebody lurking outside at the door, so I better go and see who's out there. So I'll wrap the video up now, and we'll be back later on this afternoon with your second video update, which will look at weather next week, 10 days. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.